Hello and welcome to Sonder. My name is Maggie and I am a knitter, sewist, and new doctor here in Denver, Colorado. How is everyone doing? It has been a very long time since I came on here and had the opportunity to connect with all of you. I'm realizing that I'm wearing these glasses and there is quite a bad glare. But you know what? I'm not changing it. I'm just doing it. We're just going for it. This is a podcast that I have where I come on and I talk about things that I am knitting and sewing and reading. I have not been sewing at all lately, so it is funny that I keep talking about this being a sewing podcast when in reality I haven't sewed in quite a long time. I find with sewing that I really need to have an extended period of time where I can sit and sew and concentrate on one project that I'm working on, and knitting is much easier for me to pick up and move around. And so I just haven't been sewing much, but hopefully in the next few weeks I will be sewing more. I think part of it as well is just that a lot of the things that I sew are projects that I want as pieces in my wardrobe to wear to work and other things like that. And I am a resident here in Denver, and because of COVID, we pretty much entirely are wearing scrubs. And before, it would be more of when you are in the hospital doing certain jobs, you wear scrubs, and then for the rest of the time, you're wearing business casual. I don't know why I'm talking about my work wardrobe, but anyhow, we're only wearing scrubs, and so there's not any real big push for me to be wearing my handmade objects. And so I have a couple of things that I can show maybe before I pack them up that, why don't I show that? I will today. I'll show some things that I've been working on. But, so I'll just get right into it. I did put on some lipstick today. I put on mascara. I haven't worn mascara or any makeup in months. And when I took my mascara out of the little container, it was kind of all gummed up together, and I was like, this is a testament to the fact that I have not accessed this in a very long time, which is fine. I'm a-okay with it. What has been going on? Fall is in the air, everyone, which is incredible. We actually had our first snow. I didn't take any pictures, which was an absolute travesty, but it snowed. And I mean, snow fell from the air and then stuck on the ground for only 15 hours, and then it was gone, but it made me so happy. For those of you who are not looking at the news right now, which if you are not looking at the news, I have no judgments here because I know that for me, the news makes me very anxious. But the whole Western United States is essentially on fire. And part of the reason why I haven't come on and podcasted in the last couple of weeks is that my anxiety has been sky high. I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety, had a panic attack a couple of weeks ago. And for me, a lot of my anxiety is really centered around breathing. I have asthma, so I have kind of a chronic lung disease, and the skies in Colorado were so full of smoke, and I'm sure people have been seeing pictures of Oregon and Washington and Northern California. Colorado was very similar before this snowstorm, so there was so much smoke in the air that the skies were kind of a grayish red color. When you walked outside, you could smell smoke. It was very the air quality was unhealthy and very unhealthy, not just for sensitive groups. And so it has been a time. Colorado, I think this has made me come even more in contact with the fact that global warming is very scary and becoming more and more imminent, because all of the most recent summers, the smoke, I feel like, has just gotten worse and worse, and the forest fires have gotten worse and worse, and this is by far the worst forest fire season we have ever had. Colorado and my emotions are on the up and up, because we did have recent several days of rain and that snowfall, and that really helped the air quality and gave some reprieve to the firefighters that are fighting the forest fires right now. And so I'm very thankful for that, but I'm also coming to realize that global warming is something that obviously I have always thought about and I know is very important. And for a very long time, I felt as though I was doing everything that I could do to have an impact on the environment and sort of try to make my mark less than in other, to try to be a little bit more eco-friendly. We use a lot of like eco-friendly cleaners. We have really eliminated any single-use plastic, things like that. But I think that coming into such intense chaos that is surrounded by global warming and realizing the really detrimental effects that there are, I just feel like I need to do more. And so for that, I mean, I'm not going to talk about it that much on here, but I'm kind of putting it out into the universe so that I actually do it, is that I'm going to try going vegan for a little while, because if you do not know, the meat and dairy and poultry industry has so much waste. And so I think, for me, global warming is something that I have always tried to fight, but I just feel like I can do more. And so that is one thing that I'm going to try to do. I will not be super strict, and for my friends and family who are watching, I have decided that with my practice, I will eat whatever my friends and family make me and will not expect them to cook me vegan food. But for me, what I buy and what I cook most of the time, I am not going to be eating any animal products besides honey. I love honey. So anyway, we'll just see how that goes. I think, we all need to do our part, and this is what I am trying to do. So, should we start talking about knitting? I love knitting. You guys, my knitting mojo is so high, partially because it feels like fall. The weather's changing. It's getting darker earlier. It snowed. Snow is my favorite thing. Literally everyone else in the city was like, what the fuck? Why is it snowing right now? And I was like, yes. So excited. I am so ready. I'm also just like kind of ready to just like leave 2020 behind. Like 2020 has been fine. I graduated from medical school in 2020. I got a dog in 2020. He's actually sitting right here, the hamster. But like, I think we can all agree that 2020 has been a complete and utter dumpster fire, and I'm ready to leave it behind. So anyway, that being said, it is well on its way to being winter, and well on its way to being fall, and I am just feeling so festive for the fall season. I've been knitting so much, particularly because I talked about earlier that knitting is something that is really important for my, I talked about earlier that I've been having some mental health problems, a lot more anxiety than normal. I generally have like baseline anxiety, but it has definitely been higher with everything that's going on in the world, and the environmental impacts of the fires. And so I've just been knitting my stress away. it's not gone anywhere. I'm still very stressed, but things have gotten better. So yeah, let's talk about it. Right now, I'm wearing two knitted objects. These are not finished objects. These are just things that I've had. So this is Andrea Mowry's Wool and Honey sweater. I love this thing. I have knit this out of, I think it's called Nerd String in their Penny or Penny Lane or something like that colorway. I need to knit another one of these. I don't know if you can see, but it is slowly starting to just like disintegrate. Not disintegrate, but it's just like been through a lot. I knit this probably 2 years ago, and I wear it multiple times a week in the fall and the winter. I really like fingering weight sweaters because I feel like they're just a little bit less hot, and I kind of run cold / hate being hot. So for me, it's just a really good like weight of a sweater. And yeah, I really like it. It's pretty amazing. And I think that because this yarn held up really, really well, I mean, I have worn the shit out of this, and it's just now starting to like show the wear a little bit more. And so I think that probably later this year or next year, I am just going to buy the same exact yarn and just knit the same exact sweater. It's a garter stitch sweater, so it's not like the best knitting experience, but I wear this thing all the time, and I just love it. And so I think I'll probably need to knit it again. Because I feel like now that I have had this sweater in my life, it always needs to be in my life. This is probably one of the sweaters that I get compliments on more than maybe any other sweater. I think people see the honeycomb stitch pattern and they are just floored and cannot believe that you knit it. And honestly, it was one of the first sweaters. I think it was the second sweater I ever knit. And when I first knit it, I was like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I think it turned out okay. So anyhow, I really, really love it. The other thing that I took off, and actually now that I have off, I probably won't put back on again because it is starting to warm up, is the Excuse Me shawl by Stephen West. Hopefully you can see that. This is a brioche shawl, and it was the first time I ever did brioche, so if you look closely, you will definitely see some errors. But this is knit in some very special yarn. So on this side, the main color is the La Bien Aimée, and I think it's like the Ameline colorway. I can't remember exactly. And then the back side is probably my favorite yarn color like of all time, and this is Vine Yarns Deadly Nightshade. And both of them are singles that I just held double to knit this beautiful, beautiful shawl. I really, really love it. And then I lined the bottom, or did the I-cord of the bottom in this kind of like chartreuse yellow color that I got at Fancy Tiger Crafts, and they were amazing. They helped me pick it out, and at first I was trying to decide if I wanted to do high or low contrast, and ultimately I'm really, really happy. So I love this shawl. I wear it all the time. It's very big, and I wear it like a blanket, and I wear it like granny style over my shoulders. But then I also love it because you can definitely wear it. What is happening? You can definitely wear it just kind of like over like this, and sometimes I really like to wear that just when I'm really cold and I want my neck to be really warmed up. So I absolutely love this. It was definitely kind of a slog. I remember, like, by the time you get to the end, you have so many stitches, but that is just the nature of knitting a shawl. Like, the last few inches of every shawl I've ever knit have been like a labor of love. But yeah, so that is what I'm wearing. I have 2 finished objects and 2 whips that I'm going to talk about today. And yeah, I've been knitting so much. Right now, I am drinking some yogi tea in the Egyptian licorice colorway, in the Egyptian licorice flavor. The quote on this says, "The purpose of life is to know yourself and love yourself and trust yourself and be yourself." wise words from Yogi tea, you know? It's delicious. I'm drinking it out of this beautiful handmade little mug, and it tastes like fall. So let's just jump into the finished objects. The less exciting one, but very great, is my pair of socks that I finished knitting out of a Homespun House's Overdose Awareness color. This was a really beautiful yarn. It was dyed by obviously the dyer of Homespun House, but also of her sister who has lived experience with opioid use disorder. And I loved being able to support this. I felt like it was really powerful. And while I was knitting with it, I was, trying to be intentional about my thoughts and energy sort of going into this community. So, and just kind of thinking about the people who I have known and loved who have dealt with opioid use disorder and alcohol use disorder, really all addiction. And it was really beautiful. This is just a self-drafted pattern. I knit pretty much all of my socks in some kind of all-over rib because for me this is like the best fit. I'll put one of these on. So this is 64 stitches. This one in particular, I did a 2x2 rib. Look at that beauty. A 2x2 rib all the way down the cuff and then also down the top of the sock. Should I be a foot model? I feel like I should. I mean, don't you agree? Okay, I'm done. Sorry. Anyhow, I'll take this off. Clearly, I'm in a weird mood. So yeah, I did a heel, flap, and gusset. This is one that I stole from the Hermione Everyday sock. I changed it a little bit because I do a slip stitch heel, flap, and gusset rather than the Eye of Partridge, but I do use her, it's hard to see on this very highly variegated yarn, but I do use her garter stitch panel along the side just because I do feel like it's a little bit easier to be able to then pick up your stitches. It just makes it really straightforward to pick them up in between each of those garter ridges. And yeah, this one I just thought it would be really fun to have a bright contrasting toe, and so I switched to some stash yarn. I think this is Hedgehog Fibers, just little piece of yarn that I had, and yeah, I really like them. I have not woven in the ends. That is something that I need to do before the fall. It's so funny because all of these things where I was like, oh, I'll do that later. I'm not gonna be able to wear them. Now I'm able to wear wool socks, and so I need to work on those. Yeah, this was really enjoyable. I really like having a pair of socks on the needles all the time that are kind of vanilla socks that I don't have to think about. I did recently get the Lane magazine 52 weeks of socks, and while that is one of the most beautiful books I have ever read, and I think will be kind of a coffee table book for me, I don't know if I'll ever really knit that many socks out of them because they're all so beautiful and so intricate that it's just not really, I just use socks as easy, quick, whatever, and they're on my feet. So while I would love to have a whole slew of really beautiful socks, I just don't generally spend time knitting those kinds of socks. And anytime I've tried to knit socks, I just never knit the second one, or I never even finish it. So I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully I will knit those socks, but if not, I'm honestly not sad that I bought it because it's a gorgeous book. It is gorgeous. Anyway, so that is the first finished object, and the second finished object is my Nordiska by Caitlin Hunter. I think you guys saw this in the last one, but y'all, I knit this real fast. So this is the finished object. I loved this. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I think that this is one of the best sweaters ever. It's so beautiful. I will say that I initially was going to knit this for myself, but I think I knit the wrong size, and so I think I'm going to gift this, which it will be hard to part with, but the person that I'm planning on giving this to is slightly smaller than me, and she is a very special human being who I have only started to get to know, and I'm not going to say much more than that because she will never watch this, but I'm just very elusive with my gift giving, and so I think that I am going to knit this for her, or I knitted it, and I think I'm going to give it to her for Christmas. So my plan is actually to, for all of the Christmas knits that I do this year, my plan is to go in, and after I finish knitting them, I am going to film a video of me describing what I knit and who it was for and why I am giving it to them and kind of what I hope for them. And I will release that after Christmas. So I'll go more into who this is for in that coming video. But this is the Nordiska by Caitlin Hunter. It is a V-neck fingering weight cropped sweater that I knit out of 3 different yarns, and I knit this color work 3 times. The first 2 times I knit it, I was just like, I just don't like what's happening here. Like, I just don't like it, and I don't know what I want to do differently. For me, what essentially happened is I knew that I wanted to have the burnt orange, and I knew that I wanted to have this like green color, but I just could not figure out what I wanted to do for the background color. And I think that what I ended with, I really enjoy. So I knit this out of, what is this called? Oh, I'm a terrible podcaster. I kind of want to look it up. Haley Bailey. Okay, this is, I think, called like Yarns by Haley Bailey. This is her Jupiter colorway, and this was a really beautiful kind of pale green with spots of dark green, blue, rust. It was beautiful, and I really loved it. This is all that I have left, and I'm actually going to keep this for my own one of these, and I think that I'm going to use this as this background green or gray color is going to be this. And so I am holding on to this and kind of hoarding it for when I can make this sweater for myself, which I will probably do after Christmas, not before then. So yeah, this was paired with, and I think I'm going to save this for mine as well because I really like the combination of these 2 together. This is actually the leftover of this yarn, and so this is the Nerd String fiber in their Penny or Penny Lane colorway. I can't remember, but it's this really beautiful, as you can see, orange, kind of burnt orange with like hints of lighter orange and then like really dark browns. I absolutely love this colorway, and I, like I said, I'm going to buy a whole nother sweaters quantity to remake this sweater eventually. But these 2, and then this was just in my stash. This is Rauma Phenol Garn in the some dark gray colorway. I think it's like steel or something like that. So I put all of these together and made this beautiful, beautiful sweater. Some of the things that I really loved about this sweater were the V-neck, but it's kind of a higher V-neck, so it doesn't come really far down like the diaphanous raglan. And for me, I don't love showing off my cleavage, and to be honest, I don't really have cleavage. I have very small little itty bitty titties, and so yeah, I loved that. I really loved the fact that the raglan was cabled. I felt like that was such a beautiful touch. Things that I did change about this was I did knit it quite a bit longer. It is supposed to be very cropped, and this color work is essentially supposed to start maybe here rather than knitting all of this. But I wanted it to be cropped, but not like, you know, not like if you lift up your arms, then like your under boob will show. I didn't want it to be like quite that cropped. And I think my row gauge was a little off, so I had to knit for quite a while. And then other than that, I didn't change anything. I think maybe I added a little bit to this. I will say, if you are knitting this sweater, at first I was really scared, like real scared, that the that this ribbing at the bottom would flip up, because it kind of was before I blocked it, but after I blocked it, it was perfect. So no worries there. On the sleeves, I also knit longer. So I think that this color work is supposed to start like almost immediately again after you separate for the sleeves, and I just wanted the sleeves to be a little bit longer. It's still kind of 3/4 length sleeves, but I loved this. I think it's such a special sweater. It's so beautiful. I really love how kind of rustic it is. I really love how drapey it is. It's knit at a fairly loose gauge for the fingering weight yarn, and I'm excited to knit my own, but I think that the person who this is destined for will also absolutely love it, and hopefully be able to feel all of my warmth and love and friendship when she wears it. So yeah, the Nordiska by Caitlin Hunter. I've knit so many Caitlin Hunter sweaters. I love her. I think that her rustic aesthetic is kind of perfect for my general, like what I like to wear. So it's great. So let's move on to my second whip, which is actually not that exciting, but it is a hoe. And then starting on the other one, these are my socks for my husband. So this is Mustache Yarns in her like Han Solo colorway. And again, this is a 3x1 rib for him. He has humongous feet, and so it takes me forever to knit his socks because his feet are huge. But anyway, yeah, I don't really have anything to say about this except for that I knit it when I just need kind of a mindless, don't care type of knitting, and this is how far I am on the second one. I really love this color combination, and I actually have, I have knit, so I've bought 4 of her like Star Wars socks sets, and knit myself the Rey ones, these Han Solo ones, Darth Vader for Shawnee as well, and then I have one more that I can't remember which one I got. I think it might be Captain Lando. Anyway, so I'm gonna have those, and then I'm gonna have all of these leftovers, and part of me wants to knit like some Star Wars mashup socks that are kind of using all the leftovers. So yeah, super fun. And I only have one more knitting project that I have been working on, and this right now is in my Cats in Housecoats bag by the Fat Squirrel. I love that bag. And yeah, this is the Weekender by Andrea Mowry, and it's not her newer one. It's her like older worsted weight one. Can you tell what it is? You can't? Why? That's crazy. It's so obvious what this is. Anyway, I'm in such a weird mood. But, so I am knitting this out of a couple different yarns, and I'll get to that in a second. But this is from Yampa Valley Fiberworks. This is a mill that is up in Craig, Colorado, which is just like one town away, or a couple towns away from where I grew up. So this comes from the Yampa Valley, and I grew up in the Yampa Valley. I've talked about this. My dog is named Yampa. And yeah, that's just a place that is very near and dear to my heart. And so this is knit or spun from 35% alpaca and 65% cormo. It is so soft, so floofy. It is the American Pharaoh colorway, which I think the woman who works there told me is kind of a, I think it's a horse. Are any of you horse racing fans? I don't know. But anyway, it's this really beautiful, this is a very good color representation. It's like a very beautiful auburn reddish brown colorway. And I'm obsessed. It is so soft. It is so comfy. It is a scrumptious worsted weight yarn. And I'm obsessed. My mom bought me a sweater's quantity of this in a few months ago. I think I talked about going to the mill, and it was incredible, and I can't wait to go there again this fall. I'm definitely gonna spend a weekend up there, hopefully coming up, and and go there. It's just like such a beautiful time to be up in the mountains. So hopefully I will be able to do that soon. But my mom bought me 5 of these, and they measure them in yards. So they're 200 yards. I think I measured them. I think they're like 85 to 90 grams. And I only have these 2 left. So I had 5, and all of the other ones have already gone into this amazing sweater. So let me turn it, because you knit this inside out. I will end up having to color block a little bit, and I've already planned for it, and it's going to be great. I'm actually pretty excited. So essentially what happened is normally I knit Andrea Mowry's patterns in like the smallest or second to smallest size, depending on how much positive ease I want. But for this sweater, I wanted it to be like a big hug. And so I knit it huge. I want this sweater to be ginormous. And that is a-okay, that is totally fine, except for that I don't think I'll have enough of this yarn to knit it all out of this yarn, which is fine. My plan is actually, and I already ordered the yarn from Fancy Tiger Crafts, and we'll hopefully go pick it up today or tomorrow, but my plan is to knit, so I will put a picture of this sweater somewhere. And essentially how the sweater works is you knit it from the bottom up, and then you do like some fancy footwork at the top to bring it all together. I don't want to like go into it, but the top has a line of like 1 by 1 rib at the top, and my plan is to knit that 1 by 1 rib out of Brooklyn Tweed's Hayloft colorway, which is kind of this like dirty yellow color, which I just think will go so perfectly with this and will be very fall-like. And then I also got a lighter gray color to do some color blocking in the sleeves. So my plan is kind of to knit just like this. My plan is to use all of the red that I can to knit down, which I imagine will only be able to be like halfway down the arms. And then I want to do like a stripe of light gray, and then I want to do long cuffs similar to this in the like yellow. So it'll be like red, gray, yellow. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be really actually like kind of funky and interesting. And my plan, so it's in reverse stockinette, the sweater is, and my plan is to knit the stripe of gray in stockinette, so it kind of like pops up a little bit, and then the rib. So I don't know, we'll see. It might like not work at all and be terrible, but I think it'll be cool. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I like it. And I think I will though. I really do. I think it's gonna be great. But this is the sweater. So you can see there's this really beautiful, it's reverse stockinette like I said, and there's a really beautiful slip stitch pattern, or just like slip stitch kind of faux seam down the front. And I'm in love. I'm just in love. It's so good. It's also knit at like a fairly loose gauge. Like you can see maybe me through it or something. I don't know. But I love it. It's going to be like really oversized in the best way. I am still cropping it. So she has you knit for a certain number of inches, and I knit 2 inches shorter than that. So it'll just be a little bit cropped, not like very cropped. So the sleeve separation is there, which is, yeah. And I also love how it's like a split hem. I did that recently on my, I think it was like Ghost Horse's sweater. One thing that I did with this that I really loved was that she has you do a tubular bind on, or tubular cast on, and I like never do that, but I did it for this. And now I'm like, why would I not do that for everything? It looks so, so good and so professional. So this is the perfect combination of being pretty mindless. And so honestly, I've worked on this a lot over the last like few weeks, couple of weeks, because it's just been super easy to just like go, go, go. That is a really good color representation. That's like pretty much exactly what the color is. So yeah, you can see it's like gonna be quite big on me, but I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be so oversized and so beautiful. So yeah, we'll see. I'll be winding up the last ball of yarn, and hopefully I got enough of the other yarns, and I think it will be great. I've already knit the whole front, and I just have to finish knitting the back a few more inches, and then just knit down the sleeves however far I can. One thing that is worrying me a little bit about that yarn is just that it definitely still has some red dye in it, and I know that because as I knit it, I get a little bit of dye on my fingers, and I'm a little bit worried with the color blocking that that red dye will leach into the other yarns. And so one thing that I have considered doing is washing it before, which I won't be able to do with the sleeves, but I think at least I will be able to get some of the dye out before, like the majority of the dye out before. I don't know. I need to decide, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But for right now, I definitely think that something needs to be done. Just because I really don't want the dark red dye to get into the other colors. So I don't know, we'll see. I think that's my best bet though, is like to wash it pretty vigorously and then go from there. What else do I have? That is all of the knitting that I have. I know that I talking about some sewing, but I feel like I've been blabbering on for now 36 minutes and 27 seconds. And I think it's going to be too much if I also talk about some of the knitting projects that I worked on months ago and haven't been working on lately. So I will just talk about those when I've worked on them a little bit more. I will say a couple of fun things have happened. Sean, my husband, and I bought a house in Denver, which is insane. And I am getting really excited about making a bunch of things for our new house. And yeah, I want it to be just like the most homey place that you have ever been, and just like a little haven of warmth and happiness and comfort. And so I'm planning on making a quilt for our bed. And so I think I'll take you on that journey as I work on the quilt, and probably some other decorative things. You know, I think I'll probably plan on making some pillows, making some wall art and things like that. So we'll just kind of see how things go, but I will definitely bring you along for the ride with that. So if you were here only for the crafty woolly talk, this is the end of that, and I will be moving on to some of the books that I have been reading recently. I need to film, and probably will film maybe tomorrow, my kind of August wrap-up, which I still have not gotten to, but I read some amazing books in August. But on this podcast, I do just like to talk about some of the most recent books that I've finished and what I am currently reading. So, I finished 2 books recently that were both incredible. And so I just want to talk about them. One is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Y'all, this got me so hot and bothered in the best way, but also they talk about grief and they talk about sort of betrayal, and I thought it was great. It was wonderful. I really, really enjoyed it. It has like just the right amount of like kind of sexy scenes to make you like really invested, but it's also kind of a hate to love romance, and it was just great. It is the story about a woman who inherits a house that's on the beach of Lake Michigan from her father. And the thing about this house, which this is not like you learn about this literally, I think it's on the like flap, is this was a house that her father owned with his mistress, and she had no idea that her father had a mistress. And so she has very mixed feelings about going to this house and getting this house from her father. And when she goes there, the neighbor of this house is actually a kind of rival of hers from when she was in creative writing school in college. And he is Augustus is a literary fiction writer, and she, January, is a romance writer. And in order for them to get out of the writing slump that they are both in, they decide to write each other's genres and spend time researching and writing together. And it's just about how their friendship grows and blossoms, and I loved it. I got it from Book of the Month, and I'm so glad I read it, and I think that I will probably read it again. Honestly, it's like my exact favorite type of book. It was exactly what I needed. I can't remember if I gave it 4 or 5 stars, but like, it was so good. It was so good. I highly recommend it. It was wonderful. So yeah, if you are looking for a romance, but like a well-written, like beautifully crafted romance, I highly recommend Beach Read by Emily Henry. The next book I finished, I definitely gave 5 out of 5 stars. This was one of the most imaginative and crazy books I have ever read, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is part of her Broken Earth trilogy, and it is incredible. I will say with this, trigger warnings for like death of children and abuse and many other things, kind of forced sex. Yeah, this is not for the faint of heart, but I will say that if you go online and research the triggers and you feel like it's something that you can handle, I highly, highly recommend this book. It was so beautiful. The world building was insane. I really love the magic system. For me, it's funny, I'm like getting more interested in, I don't want to say like witchcraft because I feel very weird talking about witchcraft, and just like my little scientific mind is like, no, it's not real. Like I don't believe in like crystals and like that kind of thing, but I do believe in kind of being able to harness the energy of the earth and use that to heal yourself or use that for good. And I think anyone who has spent any time in nature probably understands the beauty of having your feet solidly on the earth and feeling kind of the energy and power of the earth. And medicinal plants have been used for, thousands of years to heal. And yeah, I won't get into it, but it's something that I am like more and more interested in reading into, which is just kind of, I don't know, I feel like being a physician, it is something that we don't learn about or talk about, but I think that there is a really beautiful healing power of the natural world, and to be a more well-rounded clinician, I think being able to incorporate that into my practice would actually be quite helpful for my patients, and also because I want to learn about it for myself. So anyway, the reason why I went on that ridiculous tangent is because the magic system in this is very much about harnessing the power of the earth and using the earth's energy to produce magic. And I was here for it. One of my friends, Armand, called me a druid this weekend and said that if I played Dungeons and Dragons, I would definitely be a druid. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm here for it. And then he explained it to me and I was like, yes, I'm a druid. But anyhow, I think one of the things that was most amazing about this book is the fact that some of the chapters are written in the second person, and it really makes you feel like you are part of the story, because it's a crazy way to experience. I'm sorry, my bangs are just driving me crazy. What is happening? I think it's also just that it's like the reflection is different than real life. That's tangent. Where was I? Part of this book is written in the second person, and it makes you feel like you are really, really in the story. And oh my god, it was just gorgeous too. Like, it was beautiful. So yeah, highly recommend The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I am planning on going to the bookstore and getting the second 2 books in this trilogy and starting them, and probably reading one this month and one next month as well. I don't want to just read them back to back because I want to give the story time to percolate in my body, and it was so good. I'm really excited now to read her newest book. I think it's called The City They Became. So yeah, anyway. Then I just wanted to talk about some of the books that I am currently reading. Mom, you're gonna kill me. I did start reading Stephen King's Misery, and I DNF'd it. I just was not enjoying it. I felt like it was really boring and just like not that compelling or interesting, and I felt like the writing wasn't that good, and so I DNF'd it. Sorry Stephen King, but like sorry not sorry. It's just like not that good. I know some people love it, but I just didn't love it. And then the next books that I'm reading. So, like I said, Sean and I just bought a house, and we are starting to pack up the house that we have lived at for the last 4 years, which is taking forever, but I am using it to listen to a lot of wonderful books on tape. And so right now I'm listening to 2 different books. One is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, because it just feels like the perfect time to read some Gothic literature. And the second is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I'm not going to go into either one of those because I have only listened to them for a very short period of time, but you will hear about them over the next few weeks. And then, so I recently talked about how I read, what was it called? Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore, and the second in this series of books, the second book just came out, which is called A Rogue of One's Own. And I would just like to say that, like, I do not like the covers of these. I actually think the covers, I'm sorry to whoever designed the covers. I am sorry to you because I value your work and I just don't love it. It makes me feel like I'm reading a bad romance. And this is a romance, but not a bad one. I have also, like, read a page of this, but that's only because I was tired and I didn't have the energy to keep reading, but I'm very intrigued. This is a book about Victorian England and suffragettes and the, like, sexcapades that they get up to while also fighting for the woman's right to vote. So, in a word, it is fantastic. I love it. So I will definitely be talking about this. I will probably read it over the course of the next week and love it, and I'm so excited. It's incredible. So that is it. That is all I have to talk to you about. I've been talking for so long. Yampa's gonna come and say goodbye. Oh, goodbye. Yampa got a new collar, and he is so excited about it. He's really excited to move into our new house. It has a huge backyard. He's so sleepy. It has a huge backyard and a dog door already installed. So yeah, we're homeowners. What the fuck? How did that happen? I don't feel like a grown-up enough to be like an actual homeowner, but here we go. So yeah, I have just like, he's really pushing into me right now. I'm sorry, that was the cutest goddamn thing I've ever seen. I love him. Anyway, what was I talking about? I'm a homeowner now with my amazing husband, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have like my own space that I can do whatever I want with. I'm excited for a garden. I'm just excited for everything. I feel like big things are happening, and now I need to like go pack my whole life into some boxes because we are moving soon. So I will probably try to vlog that because I think it will be fun for me to have. So if you are interested at all in seeing a vlog of me moving into our new house and some of the things that I'll be making for our new house and things I'd be changing about our new house, then let me know. So anyway, I hope that you guys are all happy and healthy and taking care of each other and also connecting to nature and enjoying the change of season that is coming. It is definitely still summer here, but there are the crisp sort of winds of fall coming in the morning I just smell the beautiful, it's gonna sound weird, but the kind of decay of an old season ending and a new beginning. So yeah, take care of yourselves and enjoy nature, and until we meet again, I just wish you all the best.